If your goal is to work your way up the success ladder, if you're gonna have a problem with everybody who has a problem with you, do you think that that's gonna help you to get to the top even faster?
We create these walls where God's truth is unable to get in. If you want to know if you have a stronghold, the stronghold is evidenced by any area of your life that you are unable to receive God's truth.
You will hear my version of faith before I lost my dad to ALS. I don't take it back. I believe God can do anything. I haven't changed what I believe about God.
Even though you're expecting your plans to work out, even though you're expecting good breaks, you need to have your spare tire. You need to make provision in case things don't go your way.
It's not talking about pleasing other people to the point where you're no longer obeying God and you begin to do what other people want you to do or demand of you, expect of you. People's expectations can sometimes be overwhelming, especially if you're involved on very many different levels with very many people.
All this stuff going on, Delta virus, a Delta variant that's easier to spread and more lethal. This is crazy. And all these mixed messages. It's crazy.
If you're struggling with a form of social anxiety, all of that behavior that you feel, that dread that you feel, right? That heaviness, all of that heaviness and that dread, it is literally triggered by the fear of doing it.
You now have a solution, and so you're smart. You're not the problem, so that you're moral. You have a convenient enemy, so your dark, unexamined motives have a valid target, which you've already defined as immoral. And that means that you're more likely to give rein to violent impulses, let's say, that you should otherwise keep in control. And that's all very dangerous.
Those with clean hands will grow stronger and stronger. And that's what my prayer is for you, that you'll grow stronger and stronger, because when you do that, it makes hard times easier to handle.
Listen, getting successful, whatever you consider successful, if it's rich, whatever, it's not a magic trick. It's not God picks certain people he'll make rich and certain people he don't. He gives all of us as his children the power of choice.
I don't think it matters so much what you do as it does just that you're giving God the time. Just by giving him the time, you're saying, I need you. Now, every morning is a fresh start in our life. Mornings are really wonderful, and you might say, well, I'm not a morning person, but I suggest you pray to get over it and stop saying that.
Do not think like everyone else. Don't be afraid that some plan conceived behind closed doors will be the end of you. Do not fear anything except God. If you fear him, you need fear nothing else. He will keep you safe. You don't have to fear the virus, fear what the economy is going to do, fear the future. Just keep honoring God and he will keep you safe.
Why don't you show the world who you really are? Many of us secretly, deep down, feel like we're a fraud. Many of us secretly, deep down, feel like we have so much less to offer than what people expect. And that even when people compliment us, we figure that the reason that they're complimenting us is because they don't really see us for who we are.
Discipline is the root of all good qualities, but you have to absolutely apply it to things outside of just waking up early. It's everything. It's working out every day, making yourself stronger and faster and more flexible and healthier.
So I want to read something to you. I want to help somebody. Now I'm going to give somebody the light tonight. I'm going to give you a light tonight, and you may not need it right this second, but at some point in your life, you're going to need it. Greatness is remembering in the dark what God told you in the light. I just want to help somebody out. Whatever the Creator tell you in the dark, listen to me. Whatever he tells you, remember, greatness is remembering in the dark what the Creator told you in the light.
If you get, every moment I do this, the pain's getting more and more intense, there's a point where you must change. And if I change, I get all this pleasure, you're going to want to change. How many follow? But what equals pain and what equals pleasure is what you associate in your nervous system. So what happens is, the only way you create change is changing what you link pain and what you link pleasure to in your nervous system, not just in your head.
You know, if you start with the presumption that there's a baseline of suffering in life and that can be exaggerated as a consequence of human failing, as a consequence of malevolence and betrayal and self-betrayal and deceit and all those things that we do to each other and ourselves that we know that aren't good, that amplifies the suffering. That's sort of the baseline against which you have to work.
Somebody says, yeah, but I'm looking for safety and security. Fine, then huddle in a corner. We'll cover you with a sheet, bring you 3 meals a day. And we'll protect you, feed you, look after you, care for you. We won't let anything happen to you. And you'll probably live to be 100. The guy said, well, yeah, I'd live to be 100. But what a way to live. Right. What a way to live, safe and secure.
There are a lot of people who are biting their fingers in fear that they might lose their jobs. But there are few people who have decided within themselves, I'm going to make it. Some people aren't waiting to be cut. Some people are moving on their own because they feel within themselves, I've got what it takes to make it.
Our mind wants to protect us. The mind is like, honestly, it has a tactical advantage over us. It knows our deepest, darkest fears or insecurities. It knows where we start to feel, we start getting that doubt creeping that says, hey man, you know what, man, maybe this isn't good. Let's go back home to the wife. Let's go back home to the kids. This is not comfortable.
But the best way for me to overcome fear is the dream has to be bigger than the fear. That's the only way you turn around and run at it. I just want something so great. I aim for stuff so big that the dream is bigger than the fear. Look at it like this, man. If you don't ever go for this, would it be better for you to face the fear or just deal with the fact that you just never gave it a shot?
Well, you see, if you don't think about the good things that God has done, then all that you can think about is all of your problems. So let me ask you, what have you been thinking about? You know, if you're depressed and discouraged, it doesn't take very long to find the source. All you have to do is think about what you have been thinking about.
God's got this. He's on the throne. He sees what's happening. He already has the solution. You don't have to figure it out. There may not be a logical answer. In the natural, you don't see a way. That's okay. We serve a supernatural God. He has ways to do it we've never thought of.
I know anybody can accept and embrace something that they do understand and that they know the end result, but I think true courage is when you find yourself in the midst of an opposition, piece of adversity or situation, and when you're in the midst of it, you're thinking, man, how did this happen and how did I get here? But you still have a certain level of perspective to say, even though I don't understand it, even though I don't like it, I can still trust God even though I can't trace God.
I was feeling stress. And you know what? We took casualties and it was awful and it was heartbreaking. But there were other soldiers and warriors throughout time that have been in much worse situations. And in all those horrible situations, they prove really that humans can withstand almost unimaginable stress.
I was delusional. I'm nice to you, you nice to me. Don't always work like that. Sometimes it's nice to me and I take advantage of you. So some of y'all, you delusional. I just need you to do me a favor. When you are delusional, you can never get the outcomes you want because the premise in which you're operating from is a lie.
If you find the leverage, not the leverage you make someone do it, the leverage that will make them make themselves do it. We all have some place that'll get us to fall through. Now, if you get enough leverage and if you interrupt the pattern enough, how many of you ever had a pattern when you were a kid and you had like some obnoxious uncle or something and you were trying to be upset and they come like rub your damn head or some bitch, make you crazy, and you couldn't stay upset because they kept doing this to you?
things will come your way that you just do not want to see at all. And it might not just be you, it might be everyone you know and everything about your culture that is demolished for generation after generation. It's like, stay awake and be careful. And I think that people only don't believe that when they're being hubristic. And I think that most people know that deep in their hearts.
You've got to keep dreaming. Your better future is a dream for yourself and for your family. Where do you want to go? What do you want to do? What do you want to be? What do you want to see? You've got to dream dreams. There's a Bible phrase that says, without dreams and visions, people perish. You've got to have something to go for that inspires the heart and the soul.
You want to take responsibility for your life. I got me here, I can get me out of this. And I'm getting out. I'm not going to be a volunteer victim. Two kinds of people in life. You know, those that make things happen, those that watch things happen, and those that don't know what happened. The people that get along in this life look around for the circumstances that they want, and if they can't find them, they make them.
Accepting the fact that if you lose 3 or 4 pounds, that's a huge accomplishment. You have... to live in your own world. You cannot judge yourself. That's why social media and all these things are horrible. You can't judge yourself off of the so-called competition that we have made up in our mind. The things that, how people look, how people act, how smart someone is. This is a race that you run completely alone.
All you're trying to do is get to the goal. No one gets there by themselves. Everybody needs help. Now, when you know what you got going for you, be confident, not cocky. Managing your strengths, knowing what they are, and don't let nobody talk you out of it. And that gets you fight ready. You get fight ready like that.
And so really at the same time that you're being strong in faith, you're advertising Jesus to the world. And you know, when times are the worst in the world, those are the best times for us to be a witness to other people, because people are looking for something to help them with their problem.
I'm worried about my finances. I'm stressed over my children. That's drawing in more negativity. That's making you weaker, draining your strength, your energy, your passion. You'll be amazed at what will happen if you'll start thinking power thoughts. No weapon formed against me will prosper. God has me in the palm of His hand. He's made me untouchable to the enemy.
I gotta prove I'm a good dad. I gotta prove I'm a good mom. I gotta prove I'm a good preacher. I gotta prove it. And when you do it to prove it, it takes the joy out of it. Now, everybody gets to experience performance anxiety because we all perform our lives for one another all the time, just constantly.
And I fight with everything I've got to overcome those weaknesses and those shortfalls and those flaws, as I strive to be just a little bit better today than I was yesterday. Do not listen to that instinct. Do not listen. That instinct is a liar and wants to bring you down.
You ever had something in your hand before? I've been there. That's why I get on Jalen. I'm talking about Jalen like, Dad, why you on me so hard? Because I was in the hospital room when you was born. I laid hands on you, son. I was the first one when you came out, not your mama. I was the first one. I cut the umbilical cord. I held life that I created. That's why you so meaningful to me, son. I laid hands on you. I didn't see you from a video.
So decisions equal destiny. It's not our conditions, it's our decisions. So if we want a new life, if we want a new experience, we've got to make new choices. If you don't like the way your career is or your business is, change it. If you don't like your body, change it. You don't like your relationship, change you first. Because if you change it, you'll bring you to the next one. Maybe it's time to change it too, but change yourself first.
What are you afraid of? Rank it from 1 to 10. So 10 is, make a list of 10 things you're afraid of. The thing you're least afraid of we'll call number 10. So we'll start with that. Okay, well, I'm afraid of elevators. Okay, well, let's look at a picture of an elevator. Let's have you imagine being in an elevator, right? And you're going to do that at the closest proximity you can manage. You find out, you go do that, it works.
If you think investing is risky, wait till you get the tab for not investing. See, it's all risky. Getting married is risky. Having children is risky. Going into business is risky. Investing your money is risky. It's all risky. I'll tell you how risky life is. You're not going to get out alive. The Englishman says, well, if that's the way it's going to work out, let's give it a go. Right, that's what it's for. Give it a go.
As you begin to challenge yourself, you'll discover some things about yourself that you don't know right now. The other thing is you begin to look at yourself, look at your dreams, and begin to experiment and stepping into your greatness. One of the things that's very important, whatever goals and dreams that you have, repeat after me, please. Make your move before you're ready. We're instructed in life to walk by faith.
I'm able to put myself at the finish line, even though I have no finish line, but at the finish line of an event, before I even start to say, how are you going to feel at the end of this? Visualizing is my biggest tool of life. That's why I've been able to put myself in cold water, put myself in a 100-mile race millions of times before I've done it.